Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name's Rosa and we like to make everything homemaking at this channel. And today I am showing you how to make pizza from scratch. So I show you how to make the dough and how to make the sauce and how we assemble it. So let's get started. So for this recipe, you're going to need 400 grams of flour. I am just using pizza flour. That's pretty much what I use. Then you have here 240 grams of room temperature water. Then we have 3 grams of yeast, 1 leveled teaspoon of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Oh, and I almost forgot. You can add in 1 teaspoon of salt. So I am using a stand mixer, but if you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this by hand. And I'm starting off by putting in the flour, the sugar, and the yeast. And we're going to attach our dough hook. And we're going to start mixing it. And then slowly we're going to be adding in the water. So I add in the water bit by bit. And you'll see how that will look like in a few seconds. Once you see that your dough has come together, you can add in the salt and then you add in the olive oil, and you're going to let that beat for about 5 minutes. And if you're doing this by hand, then you are going to have to deal with this for 5 minutes. It's important that you let it beat for these 5 minutes. I have been impatient in the past, and these 5 minutes really make a difference. So let it take its time. And once it's ready, you can sprinkle your surface. I then take the dough out of the bowl. As you can see, it looks beautiful, nice and stretchy. And we're just going to knead it for a minute and then make it. I don't know if you've ever seen that technique where you flatten it out into kind of like a square piece, and then you bring in the 4 corners and then turn it around and make it into like a little ball shape. This recipe is an Italian recipe, and I had to translate it because I don't speak Italian, but that was the instructions, and so I followed the instructions, and sure enough, it comes out beautifully. I really like this recipe. And there you see me just rounding it out, and now I'm going to be greasing a bowl with some olive oil. I just brush it out with the plastic or a silicone brush, and then I place my dough ball into that bowl, cover it with some plastic wrap and then a tea towel on top, and I go put it into a warm place of my house. Now it's important that you put it in a warm place, because if you don't, the dough won't rise properly. And the way that this dough rises is, you can just do this one round of rising. Let it rise for a couple of hours, then poke your fingers through it, and if you want to, you can make it right away. But what I usually do is I make this in the morning, and every 2 to 3 hours I poke my fingers in it, take out the air, let it rise again, and then I'll make it at night for dinner. And this process just makes the dough a lot more airy, a lot more soft. But if you don't have that amount of time on your hands, it's okay if you just do one round of rising. It's really up to you. I've done it right away, and I've also let it rise all day. So it really is up to how much time you have on your hands. But if you do have the time, it really does make a difference. So I know this recipe isn't the quick, convenient one, but it does make a difference, and we love to eat in this house, so I don't mind taking out the time every once in a while. And now I'm going to start making the sauce. You can take the easy way for this part of the pizza, make it with jar sauce, but I felt like making my homemade sauce, and I usually always do. And so I'm just cutting up a small onion, I think I put in 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to be mincing this real small with my manual dicer. I use my manual dicer because it's easier to get them really small with this. Once I am done dicing this, I add in a couple tablespoons of olive oil into my saucepan, and I throw in that onion and garlic and let it saute for a couple of minutes. And while it's sauteing, and this is an optional step, but if you have any tomatoes that you would like to use up, you can take the opportunity to use it up on the sauce. I cut up a tomato that I had at home. If I had more tomatoes, I would use more, but I only had 1 tomato, and I let it saute with the onion, let it release its juices, and then I add in maybe a cup and a half of tomato sauce, stir it in, let it simmer for a little bit, and then I'll start adding in my spices. My spices are usually always the same: black pepper, oregano, thyme, rosemary. If I don't add in the garlic already, I'll put in garlic powder. I add in a bay leaf or 2, and that's pretty much it. Don't forget to add in your salt like I almost did. And yeah, that's pretty much it for seasonings. If you want to take the easier way out, instead of adding all of these things that I just added in, you can just add in Italian seasoning. It's the same thing. It's this concoction of seasonings that I use is practically just Italian seasoning. But since I can't get Italian seasoning here in the Azores, I just make my own. Another great addition to any type of tomato sauce that I make, whether it's pizza sauce or bolognese sauce, if I have basil at home, I will add in basil to the sauce because it makes a very big difference. It makes it very tasty. Once you have all your ingredients in there, let it simmer. Make sure you taste test to see if you need any more of the seasonings, any more salt, and yeah, just let it cook for a couple of minutes and then turn off your heat. Make sure it's completely cooled before you put it on your pizza dough. Okay, it is time to start making pizza. I have everything prepared from the sauce that is homemade. All the ingredients are here prepared. Some cheese, some onion, that's fresh mozzarella, pepperoni. I have bell pepper, olives, a few jalapenos, and then this is just ham and chorizo. This is just a pizza mixture that you can buy at the store. And then right here, I have both my pizza pans prepared with some parchment paper. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm gonna sprinkle them with some flour. And this is going to be my working space. I am going to flatten out the pizzas. I'll go get the dough to show you. So 1 batch of dough is enough to make 2 pizzas, and as you can see, the dough rise very nicely. I just take it out of the bowl, cut it in half, and I'm going to start dealing with my first pizza ball. And I'm just going to disclaim right now, I am not good at throwing the pizza dough in the air and stretching it out that way. To all the pizza makers there, I am sorry. You must be cringing. But this is the way that I stretch out my pizza dough. I just slowly stretch it out to the sides. I used to make a big crease for the crust, but I learned that Italians don't do that. The crust is where the sauce is not on top and it will bubble up, so there's no point in doing the crease. And now you'll see that the hands in the video are different. Luis, my boyfriend, wanted to assemble the pizzas, and so I let him do that. And yeah, he's just making 2 different kinds of pizza, one with the fresh mozzarella. If we had the basil, we would do that pizza margherita, I think that's what it's called, with the mozzarella and the basil. But since I don't have any fresh basil on hand, we just made a pepperoni pizza with fresh mozzarella. Now I'll let you watch him assemble the second pizza, and right after you're done assembling your pizzas, you'll put that in the oven until the crust is golden brown, and you'll put that in at 180 degrees Celsius. I think that's 375 Fahrenheit. And right after Louise is done making the pizzas, I start making the pizza pockets. I grab the second batch of dough, I cut it into 8 equal pieces, as you can see me do right now. And then I take each piece one by one, stretch it out, add in a little bit of sauce, alternate with the toppings through each of the pizza pockets, fold it up, and then I will freeze this for a later date. This is great to have for, those freezer meal options. I like to have this when I need a quick meal. After it's frozen and you decide to make it, you just pop it in the oven for about 30 minutes until they're golden brown, and you have a quick meal on your hands. Like always, I will leave the recipe for the dough and for the sauce in the description below, so if you have any questions about that, just check out the description. All of my recipes are usually there if you didn't know. So this video is coming up to an end. Let me know what you thought of this recipe, and if you try it out, let me know in the comments below how it turned out for you. I really recommend you trying out this recipe. You won't regret it. It's really delicious. And yeah, there's not much more to say about it. It's amazing. Try it out. And I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Oh, and here's this little sneak peek to another video that I made, homemade chili cheese bites. Hit the like button if you want to see that. And don't forget to comment if you try out this recipe. If you don't want to miss future content like those chili cheese bites video, hit that subscribe button. And here are a few pizzas that I made in the past with this dough. Looks amazing, looks delicious. And yeah, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.